that was a memorable fair because without knowing what I was looking at, I saw the first television broadcast between New York and San Francisco.
You're kidding.
Actually, a television broadcast. It was it was almost undiscernible. It was so cloudy and rainy and what have you. But you were actually seeing a picture, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
What year was that?
1939.
1935?
39.
39.
1939.
Do they do World's Fairs anymore? They don't do those anymore, huh?
No, they're too expensive.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, somebody will put one on, and but it's usually to sell people.
Yeah.
This was an exposition, and the one in San Francisco was geared more for Asian and Pacific influence.
How much it would cost to put one of those on?
Yeah.
Oh God, my God, it would be incredible. Well, just imagine Treasure Island in San Francisco Bay was actually dredged up and created as an island. There was nothing there.
Oh wow.
And that was a man-made island off of Yerba Buena Island.
For that purpose.
For that exact purpose. Now it's a Navy base. But
Chicago did like something similar to
yes,
Yeah.
and New York has had them a couple of times, but it's
It'd be cool, but yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Well, I know. I heard LA's wanting to bid for the Olympics again.
Yeah. What would you put away?
Huh? Oh, there's just something.
Oh, these are the World's Fair photographs too. This was backstage. They had this wonderful historical program. I think I mentioned it the last time we were together. Cavalcade of America, and they did the history of the United States in this great big outdoor stage. Just a huge thing, and all of the voices were mine. They came out of a studio, but everybody acted out the parts on the stage. And this was the train. This was the train that came across. It was a replica of the train that I think it was the Southern Pacific train that met the Union Pacific train in Utah, and they drove in the Golden Spike, and so I got my picture taken on the train, and it was I went backstage. I met with. I didn't realize how rich my experience had been.
So whose photos are these from?
Those are Ogleth's too. I grabbed those because there's a lot of dogs in it, and I thought you would want to see them.
Was this the infamous T-Bird?
Oh yeah, I don't know if that's the one.
Oh, Clive, is this the T-Bird that was traded in for the Volvo? Because we've heard that story 100 times.
Yes.
And every last bit of it's been met with anger.
And I could understand why. I didn't realize what a thing I had.
No, I mean they're not worth anything now.
Right.
What year was that one?
57.
Which lens?
57. No, that story, but I told him when he goes sell it that I will buy it. And did you believe that guy turned it in for a Volvo?
That's exactly how Dad says it too.
Well, I'm upset because if he would have got it, then it could have been ours at this point, right?
He would have got rid of it.
I don't know. And what year was
People
this?
didn't realize cars were going to be worth 10 times what they were.
But even so, look at that car.
It's a nice car.
I mean,
who would ever think it would be worth 10 times what it was back then?
Well, that's like Stacy keeps every single one she's ever had.
That's you're not going to get. None of yours is going to be worth 10 times.
She keeps it for as long. There's a lot of dog pictures.
I know. That's why I grabbed them. There's one that's like.
Oh, that's
I need to send this to Dad. Say, Dad, look what we found. I just
Still got it.
I thought it was a joke. You know, I always hear about this T-bird. You know.
Yeah, I had a 1955 Chevy Bel Air.
Oh, that's not worth any money either.
Yeah, I know it. It was a classic.
They use those as planters now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, it was a nice car, and a friend of mine on the faculty at Compton had gotten the first T-bird was a 54.
55.
55. He had a 55, and that was neat. And so one day, one Saturday morning, I decided what I was going to do is go up and buy a T-bird. I did it through the credit union, and went up and brought it back, and I set it outside the house on Matheson Street, Matheson Avenue, and didn't tell anybody. And Judy came in, and she said, "Whose car is that out there?" And let's see, how old would she have been then? Let's see, I bought it in '57. So that would have been.
Oh, you bought this new?
So I was 27, brand new.
Yeah, she was 19.
Yeah, so she would have been 19. And I don't know. I don't know. And then I forget how it happened, but then I said, no, I got it. And she was ecstatic, and she had to have a ride in it immediately. And so we did. But that car ate up gas like it had a part interest in Standard Oil. I mean, I went through about 8 or 9 fuel pumps on it. It was
That's why he traded it for a Volvo.
yeah.
This says Alice White.
Just way to get dim sum.
Alice White. Does that ring any bells? And then I don't know. Do you know who this is?
Yes,
Who's that?
yes, that's Grandpa Stoker.
Grandpa Stoker.
He was a nice man. Had owned a market in Oakland. In fact, the earliest recollection I have in my life is going to his market, and I remember it vividly because he had this big wheel of cheese, and the color, the red, orange color.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, for some reason, that, so that would have been 1931, 32, maybe 33. Anyway, when the Depression hit, he lost the market, and he worked as a longshoreman the rest of his life. I still have his, well, I forgot what they call it, but that grappling hook that they used on the docks there. And he was a wiry, tough little guy, and just a wonderful man. Yeah.
No. These are all the same. I think that's all the same picture, more or less.
Oh yes. Yeah, that's Grandpa Stoker.
That same?
Yes.
Okay.
They're all Grandpa Stoker, and those were taken at our house in La Mirada, and it was a holiday, and
Hey, but his
You need a picture of the Volvo.
I think
what?
You need a
Grandpa
picture of the
Stoker
Volvo now.
had passed away, and so he was over the house, and he was playing with the dogs, and he there he's, you can see in that picture. And that was one of the last times we saw him.
See, I haven't heard that story.
What, the Volvo
Yeah.
and the T-Bird?
Yeah.
It was traumatic times.
Actually, we turned in two T-Birds,
It gets worse.
the 55 and a 68.
68, you probably live without. This is 57 though.
But that was a 57. Yeah.
Stacy's dad has one.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. Every year he takes it out one time a year. Well, he doesn't even drive it. I drive it for him, but because he likes driving his Mustang, but I drive his 57 T-Bird. And whenever I get out of the car, there's a whole row of T-Birds, and they're all. But I'm the youngest, and the next closest to me is probably 20 years my senior, and they come over and they try to get you involved with their
Little T-Bird club?
Their little T-Bird club, yeah.
Their jackets with
Yeah, matching jackets, families, all out. But yeah, it's a fun car to drive. It's big. It's bigger than people think.
Oh, it is. It is. That hood extended out. It looked like a mile long.
Well, yeah, and then the portholes in the back, you can't really see out of it, and I'm too tall to drive it.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, it looked like McGilly Gorilla.
It wasn't a real comfortable car to drive. We took it. We drove it up to when Marilyn's parents had their place up at Lake Tahoe. We drove it up there a few times.
How many times you pull over for gas?
Oh God. A number of times, and once for a new fuel pump. We went in Bishop, California. Went out in Bishop.
You don't take it to the dealer and have it.
Yeah, right. It was, but it was a nice car. We took the dogs with us on that trip,
Jeez.
and they would lay up on that shelf behind, and they just had a field day with that car. They loved it, and it was.
It'd be interesting to find the VIN and see if it could be located, to see if it's still in existence. You know, see if it made it.
Yeah.
You just want to throw salt in your dad's wound, huh?
It's not like none of us could buy
Your
it.
dad's and they painted it black.
Well, the
instead.
fellow that bought it was a race car driver, and in the Indianapolis type of cars, and he was retired, but he was Swedish, and
See, now the story's changed. Before we were under the impression it was traded in on a Volvo. Now we know you
no,
sold it.
actually not. It was there was a trade in, but it was more favorable than just a straight trade in. Then we got interested in the BMWs.
Have fun at the next meal.
Oh, yeah.
It's been BMWs ever since.
Yeah, I picked up a Volvo when I was assigned to the program in Europe. I picked up a Volvo over there and drove it all over, and which was very, very nice. And then in those days, you had one shipment free from Europe to any place in the United States. Didn't cost you a thing.
Oh my gosh.
And so I drove it all the way, all the time over there, then I had it shipped back at no expense.
Wow.
It was nice. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember the Volvos.
I always remember Volvos for one of your kids, yeah. And the Furby dogs.
And the dogs being outside. And you look at it now and go, why couldn't they get to come in?
Well, I have high respect for the Volvo. One of them saved my life.
I say they're tanks.
Oh yeah, I had driven over 1,000 miles in the British Isles on a vacation. We came back, and I had to go up to USC for an appointment, and I drove on the 60 to the Santa Monica Freeway, and I went off at the Harbor Freeway turnoff, and there was